been on quite a few police operations, protests, but one of the worst that I was on in a way was the Queen Street riots. And that began quite sort of innocently, in the sense that the Auckland Council had put on an evening for students at the end of school term as a bit of a wind down. The only trouble was that a lot of older students turned up and they decided to get on the booze. And as it turned out later on, they had drunk all the local hotels that were around the Aotea Square out of Steinlagers, the small beer bottles.
That's quite big.
Well, trouble started to brew as it got towards dusk, and the bands were there playing on a stage, and everyone, there was women and children there, and young people, old people, St John's ambulance, police. There was a small amount of police there because it was meant to be a friendly event. I was up working late shift in Ferguson House, and I sort of could hear the music, and I thought I'll pop down there in a while and have a look around myself and get away from my paperwork and things that I was doing. So I just got down there and it got out of control. Basically, some of the young fellows were on the Bledisloe building and they were throwing beer bottles, empty beer bottles, on the people down below who were going off to the movies and places like that. And 2 or 3 police went up to try and deal with them, and these guys got abusive and hurled bottles at them, and it just broke down from there, with people deciding that they were going to have a go at the police or just going to throw bottles around. So it was quite unlawful in the sense that it was a dangerous situation. So I got down there and other police were arriving because of the call out, and these louts had moved over to back part of the crowd in Aotea, and they were hurling bottles just into the crowd. And they were very difficult to see, the bottles, because you might catch a glint of a bit of glass in the air, and you very hard to tell where it's going and where it's going to land. So the Chief Inspector there said to me, Earl, go up to the stage and stop the band, because we need to be able to talk to people and let them know that there's issues. It was very difficult to hear. You couldn't hear police commands or people trying to deal with these people. So I went up on the stage and saw the manager there and stopped the band. Dave Dobbin, who's a well-known singer, he was on stage at that stage, and it's sort of alleged that he made some remarks that were derogatory about the police. What are the pegs doing here? Or he denied it and said that he said something else. But so there's a bit of debate as to what was actually said, and then, and there was a court case over it later on, but I don't think it was ever decided exactly what was said. But whatever he said didn't help the situation, basically. At that stage I was there by myself, and I was near a group of St John's ambulance people, and they were being bottled, so I got them out of the area. I could see some groups of police had formed up into sort of skirmish lines, and they were rushing up to and grabbing guys who they were seen throwing and kicking cars and generally damaging property. So I went back up to the central to assist with processing of. I knew the arrests were being made, and people would be brought in up there, and they would need help, because dealing with all these people, when you get a police holding cell room with 40 or 50 people who are half drunk and fighting, it's not always easy to control them. So
I can only imagine.
I went up there and assisted there for the next several hours, well after midnight. At some stage, some politician came through with one of the chief superintendents, and he was nodding very wisely and looking obviously very aghast as what was happening. And a lot of cops were, because we just couldn't believe that the crowd had behaved in this way. As it turned out, they formed up in groups and they went down Queen Street, just kicking in shop windows, throwing rubbish bins at them, throwing rubbish bins at cars, kicking in car windows, jumping over the tops of cars, just like you see on TV these days, and generally knocking over people as well, in a manner which was highly disorderly and dangerous. So that was my Queen Street riot. A lot of them were arrested, and then they tried to say that they didn't break windows despite being seen, and in fact TV turned up and they had that recorded and they were broadcasted on the TV at home. Some police who were off duty saw what was happening and thought, geez, I better get into town and help out. So they got in their uniform and drove into town to help us out. Because we're talking about several thousand youths who were just totally out of control. And I think it was just a situation where the brain lost all reason, a bit of booze and bravado, and they just wanted to show how tough they were.
Must have been a massive clean-up next day.
Oh, it went on for weeks. There were plywood over shop windows for some considerable time, because the glaziers had to make up toughened glass, etc., and put those in plate glass windows and general tidy up. The mayor at that stage was Dame Kath Tizard, and the rumour went round that she was up on the top of the council building having a gin or so and said, look at this wonderful crowd up there. And she went, oh my God, there's a riot taking place. So for whatever, it may be true, it may be not, but it was certainly a dangerous time, and people were cut and injured by these idiots throwing glass.
A night to remember.
A night to remember.
for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.